All right, so welcome everyone to another episode of the Adaptive Boxing Podcast. As we know, we've got...
I'm Kieran.
This is Kieran. I'm Matt.
Scott.
And if you'd like to introduce yourself.
I am Maddie.
So if you want to give us a bit about yourself, if possible.
Yeah, so I play wheelchair basketball for Great Britain now, which
Well done.
Buzzing about that. I'm from Portsmouth, 20 years old, and been playing for too long.
Too long.
Too long, yeah.
But many more years to come.
Maybe.
So you obviously went to the Paralympics this year, first one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard that you're possibly the youngest on the squad.
I was the youngest in the squad, yeah. However, two of us are 20, so I'm not going to use that.
Not going to claim that one.
Yeah, but I am the youngest, unfortunately.
So how was the experience for you?
Honestly, it was unreal, like everything I've dreamed of. Obviously, I've wanted to do this for years and years, and to go out there and do it and it be everything I dreamed of, just incredible, yeah.
How long have you been in? Okay, so you're basketball based.
Mm-hmm.
So how long have you been doing kind of adaptive basketball or wheelchair basketball? Sorry.
I've been doing it for 9 years now, nearly 10, and yeah, honestly, it's just taken up my whole life.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah.
I love it. I do love it.
Because obviously, Kieran, you play basketball as well.
Yeah, that's how I first met Mad.
And when did you first meet each other on the scene? Kind of.
So I
wheelchair basketball.
Yeah, when I first started playing.
Yeah.
So I was playing for a team called Tornadoes in the National League, and Mad was 13 at the time.
I think. Yeah.
So she come training with our team, and she couldn't actually play in the league for 2 or 3 years, and yeah, we were just training in the same club, and then I actually played in the team with Mad on a sort of debut season in the National League, if you like.
So you've kind of seen the whole kind of from the start to now at the Paralympics. It's kind of the dream journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of, because obviously for people who don't know, sort of like a lot of disability sports, you have to travel a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's on the road all the time.
All the time, literally. I think tomorrow I'm meant to have an away game in Manchester, so and that's like a weekly thing. So yeah, on the road all the time.
So who drives?
My dad. I'm not doing that. Absolutely not.
So it's sort of when you went to the Paralympics, how did it talk us through like the journey there?
Just obviously, like I said, I've dreamed of it since I was a kid. I watched it in 2012, and apparently I said to my parents, like, that's what I want to do, that's where I want to be.
So you manifested it.
I did.
Fantastic.
But I think it's something that you don't actually expect to happen. You just say it.
Yeah.
Like, it looks good, I want to do that. But obviously it was a dream. And then like you go along, I'm just playing basketball, I'm just having fun. And then all of a sudden I end up at a Paralympics, and it's like, well, I didn't actually expect it to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I say it, but when you're actually there, like, it just hits you, and it's unbelievable. Like, the whole selection, I was just crying the whole time. Like, I was like, I can't believe I'm here.
Good tears.
I was just like, I can't believe I've done it. Like, I didn't expect this.
Who inspired? Like, obviously, we all look up to different athletes as we're growing up. What kind of?
Yeah.
Who were you? Who was your kind of like idol when you were doing wheelchair basketball?
Yeah, so a few of my current GB teammates played in 2012 when I first watched. So obviously I was like, wow, they're amazing. Like, and then they're my teammates, and I do fangirl. I'm a huge fangirl.
You haven't got over that stage yet.
No, absolutely not.
Did you go to the 2012?
I didn't. I watched it, but yeah, like I say, them being my teammates now, I'm still such a big fangirl. But there's also a woman called Fee, who in 2018, 2019, I got taken out of like one of our junior GB teams because of my age, and she helped me through like that period and just sort of mentored me really through like the whole of how GB would be when I got there, and just making sure that I take my time and I don't put too much pressure on myself. And like, thanks to her, like, I think that's why I carried on.
Quite a mental strain, isn't it?
Yeah,
sort
exactly.
Of, people don't really, like, you're playing a sport, but you're the strain of kind of being in the public eye, kind of going on such a big stage.
Yeah.
Obviously, that experience on the team, they must kind of guide you through it a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Like, Helen Freeman, she's done 5 Paralympics now. So the first person I went to was Helen. I was like, right, what's about to happen to me? Like, I've never been here.
Wow.
Like, what is about to happen? You've done it 5 times. I need your help. And they're great. Like, they basically took me through step by step what it was going to be like. And that's so helpful. Just feeling prepared when you turn up somewhere, like, it's great.
So when you're in Paris, did you go any sightseeing as well with the team? Is it kind of like, or was it just such a whirlwind of kind of you're playing, getting ready, focusing? Much downtime?
The first 5 days we didn't actually have anything, like, so we went around the village, like, doing everything we could whilst we had the time, so that when game time came around we could focus, get it all out of your system. But we didn't really go out of the village to, like, sightsee. Some teams did, but most of the time we just stayed in, or we went out to see our families every now and then. But yeah,
I've heard the word muffins being thrown around. Am I touching on anything there with?
oh, tell you what, they're unreal. Unreal. Like, I snuck a few out for my family for games because I was like, you need to try this.
So what are they, like muffins in the village? sort of
Literally
like?
just some chocolate muffins in the village. Turns out they were low calorie, so I was fine eating one every day, but I didn't know that at the time. Did I care? No.
No. So also kind of leading up to the Paralympics, what was kind of the process of getting there? Kind of going from local sports, kind of national, international, I take it, and then kind of the big stage.
Yeah, like you play junior league until you're 18, so you play under 15s, and you move into under 18s. Then you go into league like I did with Keith.
Oh,
Keith? Go on, explain. Go on.
Cheers,
Who's
mate.
Keith?
That's me.
Do you know what? I don't even know the story behind the nickname. I just turned up at Tornadoes and that was your name.
Yeah,
Go on,
thanks,
Kieran.
mate.
Kieran, you must know.
You're
Or
so
Keith.
welcome. You got to give it.
Unfortunately, I do, and I hoped you wouldn't bring that up. Cheers, mate. So basically, when I first started playing basketball, I had a lovely looking hairdo, or lack of haircut, should I say. And I hurt my hand, so I had something, on the hand. I turned up, and my coach at the time, he said, "Mate, you look like Keith Lemon." Well, from that day on, it's Keith. And to be honest, when I'm playing now, like, if someone was to call me Kieran in a basketball setting, I wouldn't even flinch. Whereas I am just Keith.
You respond to Keith now.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And like, Mads has gone away to different teams and stuff, and we now play for different teams at the moment. But even other people in the league, they say Keith, and I'm like, oh my word. And then I'll go home or something. It'll be my birthday, and people will say from the basketball world, "Happy birthday, Keith!" And Mum says to me, "Who's Keith?" I say, "Yeah, that's me." It's cheers,
Brilliant.
mate.
Yeah, I've never known you as anything different.
No, I've had
so-
about 20 different nicknames. But yeah.
So you're Keith. What's Maddie?
Well, to be honest, like when we were training and playing at our club, we had a nice family feel to the club we started at. So I used to say, "Oh, Martin,"
Yeah, it was
So now I
Martin.
just know Maddie.
Yeah, because when you turned up, you said Martin, and I was thinking, who's Martin?
Yeah,
And I was expecting to be like saying Maddie, and then I realised it's Maddie Martin. And I was,
Yeah.
And then I switched sports, and I think, I've got to, I'm back to Kieran now.
Are you though?
I think I prefer Keith.
No, don't. Because then it's going to stick in the boxing too. I was going to say something there, but I think that's my weekend.
Yeah. So kind of now the Paralympics is done as well. Have you had much downtime? I know that sort of like there must have been quite a bit of PR as well after, and kind of because let's be honest, that was a very successful Paralympics for the GB team.
Yeah.
I mean, the result was fantastic. Like, how's it been? Your feet touch the floor yet?
Well, I'd hope not. I'm in a wheelchair. But... No, I had a lot of PR beforehand. Afterwards, I think I've put them all off. I do think I've put everyone off because I've not had anything. Absolutely nothing.
Oh,
So,
well,
it's good to do
hopefully.
something finally.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had quite a long break. Obviously, since we got back, I've not done a thing, to be honest.
So
Yeah,
like,
I think
now
there's a downtime straight after as well, isn't there? So it'll all start picking up. We spoke to some guys out there. They said afterwards, no one even wants to talk about it or be near it, and then it'll start. The momentum will start again very soon.
Yeah, so like I say, the league starts for my team tomorrow in Manchester. And then I play in 2 leagues. So I play Women's Premier League and then Premier League National. And so I think Women's Premier League doesn't start until December, so that's a very, very nice break. But National League starts straight away, so like you come back and you've got to get focused straight away.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have time to. Obviously, you sit and you don't really train for like a couple of weeks, but then your mind has to be focused straight away on your next game.
Well, yeah, the people in sports want to play sports, don't they? They want to be active all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're quite an active group ourselves. I mean, Kieran, you're always doing something as well. You know, we're finishing the working day. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go play a game," and I'm like, "Where are you going?" You're like, "London," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why? What now?" Like, you know, so it's kind of with the downtime. Obviously, first game tomorrow. You starting?
Oh, I don't even know if I'm going yet.
Good start.
I've been knackered since I got back. I'm on that big tournament come down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Get back into it and
Yeah.
hopefully start again. So, bit of awareness kind of we want to raise about like classifications and kind of like how people get into kind of different sports, para sports. Can you give us a bit of kind of a background on yourself, kind of?
Yeah, I've got spina bifida, so I'm just affected from like the waist down. I'm not completely paralysed, like I can move my legs, I can use them, and so that helps me stabilise myself in my chair. So I'm a 3, which is like a mid-pointer, because we go from 5 to 1. 1 is the most affected by their disability, and 5 is like able-bodied. What are you, Keith?
I'm actually a 3 as well.
You're a 3 as
although
well?
we have different
Okay,
disabilities,
so-
we're
Yeah,
in the same-
because obviously to understand a bit more about so different disabilities, you've got CP, you've got spina bifida.
Spina bifida, yeah.
How do they affect differently?
Well, yeah, so for me, it's if the brain signals get into the rest of my body. So I'm affected on the left side of my body, but actually, like, there's always ways you can sort of try and overcome things and you just adapt and get on with it. Yeah. Whereas, you know, something like Mad, we're in the same basketball classification, but, yeah, has a different disability.
So it sort of because I'm trying to because obviously disability world can be kind of a bit difficult to get around. People struggle to ask questions or don't want to ask questions, but you're living your lives a bit. Sort of, how's it kind of been growing up in kind of everyday life?
I mean, I was quite lucky that my family were like just treat me like all the other kids. I mean, I've got 6 siblings, so they bullied me as much as I bullied them. You know what I mean? So
Wow, that's a big family.
so like I was quite lucky. I was just like normally, like no one treated me any different growing up, and I went to school, like had a lot of friends. Like I didn't really struggle with that. I just got on with life.
Fantastic.
And so yeah, I was quite lucky in that aspect.
Where are you are you youngest or?
I'm right in the middle.
Okay.
Got 3 older, 3 younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do they kind of look after you, or is it? You said they bully you, but they look after. Is it
Yeah,
with?
tough
Is it loving bullying?
I'd like to say yeah.
And then obviously Kieran with CP, kind of, how's that affected? Kind of.
Like growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in a similar way, I've got 3 siblings and, you know, my cousins and stuff, we're all like one really close family now. But growing up, it was exactly the same, you know, they didn't treat me any different, get on with it. You know, if they were doing something, why, you know, we'll support you to do it, but find a way to do it, which is good. And then now, like, that's led me to be how I am today, because I know that you could easily be wrapped up having a disability. But actually, the best way, for me anyway, growing up was my parents said, we'll help you if you actually need it, but get on with it.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, exactly the same thing. We'd have tussles when we were younger. We'd have this, that, and the other. And then I still try it now. I say, oh, Mum, my legs hurt. Can you get this for me? She says, shut up, you lazy git.
It doesn't
Do it
work
yourself.
anymore, does it?
No.
You've shown too much kind of ability to
Yeah.
kind of look after yourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were talking the other day, weren't we, about kind of growing up in sporting families, sort of like you were kind of encouraged to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
Is that the same with kind of like your family as well, or is it kind of you kind of going, I want to get out of the house, I need to do something?
No, I mean, like, we're not really sporty. Like, we watch football, stuff like that, but none of them actually played sport. My dad did a little bit, but it wasn't something straight away I was like, oh yeah, I want to play sport. Like, I just saw it and I was like, I'd like to give that a go. And it took my family 3 years to find me a club. So they were really committed to, like, helping me fulfil this dream. And so they were fully behind it, but, like, we weren't really a sporty family at all.
So do you kind of throw out them that you've been in the Paralympics
absolutely.
now? Yeah.
Absolutely, I do, yeah.
What do they respond?
I don't even know. I don't listen.
You're above them now.
Can't say that.
No. Okay, so do you know much about adaptive boxing?
Not a lot.
But when I first saw you then straight away.
Yeah. Mad says to me, I don't want to have a go, I don't know much, but obviously, being friends with Mad, she's obviously seen it on my socials and we've talked about it and she knows a little bit. And I turned up this morning, hammering down with rain. First thing Mad does, Mad, how are you? Well, Martin, how you doing? And then she goes, boom. And I said,
Yeah, I've been watching.
Nearly caught me on the chin and that's, yeah.
So what would you say if someone approached you and said, kind of, do you want to give boxing a go?
Yeah. I was saying today, I pretend I'm scared, but knowing me, it's something I'd absolutely love.
Yeah. Well, at some point, we do want to get you in.
Oh, yeah.
We want to have a session, show you a bit.
Yeah, I'm in.
Get you to learn some. Kieran can guide you the way.
Keith.
Keith, sorry.
Keith.
Are we starting to use Keith now?
Keith.
Is that?
No.
I'm not letting that one go.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I like it. I prefer it. And it's easier to say. Kieran, I keep getting mixed up with Tiernan, don't I?
Oh, yeah, you do, don't you?
He calls me, T.
Yeah, T or K. Yeah.
So Keith now.
Keith, so much better.
I'll try to use Kieran, but
Yeah.
it might happen.
As of the day of the podcast with Maddie. Thank you very much. I'm now Keith.
So what does the future hold for you? Are you...
I mean, I've just signed for a new team in the Women's Prem, so, like, that's exciting for this year. Get a new role. Continue playing for Reading Rockets in the Premier League for National League. And then I believe we've got Europeans next year, so obviously try and get selected for that, but same old, I guess. Like, nothing changes. It's exactly the same.
Do you reckon you could talk to us maybe, Matt, about some of your, like, achievements and some of your memories and of club basketball or international?
Yeah, club basketball, obviously started very young. And like you said, I had to wait a couple of years training with you lot before I could actually play in the league. But we had some big players there. We had, like, Lewis Edwards, who's also a Paralympian. We had Lamry, Tom, who were in the under-23 setup, I believe, at the time. Yeah. And you lot didn't take it easy on me, did you? Let's be honest. I think, if anything, you saw me as a little kid and were like, yeah, I'm taking the ball off of her. But I think, like, I learnt so much from that. And then when the league came around, I was like, I'm ready to fight anyone now. I've had it off of you lot long enough. I can hold my own. But, like, yeah, I just got every club I went to, I was thrown in at the deep end. Like, I was training with their senior team straight away, and I think it was also hard, though, because a lot of people early in my career were like, oh, you're going to be the greatest wheelchair basketball player ever, and I was just like, that puts so much pressure on me. I'm like 11, 12 years old and people are saying this to me, and I was like, oh, I hate it. And even if someone said it to me now, I'd be like, no, absolutely not. No.
Were you the youngest, or was there other youngsters with you?
Was I the youngest?
Because it sounds like it was you're really young in it.
Yeah, we had, like, a junior team at the time.
We did,
and what was interesting was Mad picked it up very quickly. So it was like we had other juniors.
You sound frustrated about that?
No.
He absolutely was.
We had other juniors that were been there for months, for years, training with us and being around. And then Mads goes, boom, straight into training with the seniors. And I bet they were like, which is compliment to Mad, Mm-hmm. It's good. Do you reckon you could talk to us, Mad, about your international, your debut when you first got selected for GB, how that felt? And
Oh, I was not expecting it at all. I had been training with, like, a GB squad for a few months, and then May last year, I think I got my first selection call, and it's literally just a 5-minute video call and they say yes or no. And it is horrible because you sit around for weeks and weeks waiting for this 5-minute call, and then it's like, well, have I made it or have I not? And I got the call and he was like, you're in. I was like, no, you're lying. I was at training at the time as well. I stepped out of training to go and take this call. And I was like, no, you're lying. I think for 5 minutes I was like, you are lying. No, don't joke. It's not funny.
Yeah.
And like, I just didn't believe it. But at the time we had a few players injured, and like we ended up taking, I think, 2 of our reserves. So like we were in a bit of a situation. And we went out to Worlds, made my debut, and like I always say my favourite part of a tournament is singing the national anthem in our first game. Like, it's so weird, but it's just like, I'm actually here. And like, I'm wearing GBR across my vest. Like,
it must be an unbelievable feeling to like be on that court singing the national anthem. What was it like having all the crowd around you? You know, you're there, like you say.
Like when we were in Dubai at Worlds, there wasn't as many people. Obviously, our families had gone out, but there wasn't many fans. But then you do it in Paris, and there's like 13,000 people, and like you've got everyone just staring at you, and it's like it's kind of intimidating, but at the same time, like you're singing your national anthem, you're representing your country. Like, it's so powerful and it's so cool. Like, I don't think there would ever be enough words to describe how that feels.
Yeah,
it's honestly unreal.
Sounds amazing.
Totally amazing.
You've also played in a lot of other competitions. You got a silver and a gold, I believe.
in the juniors.
Yeah.
In juniors.
Junior, yeah. Talk about some of your junior.
I want to hear the achievements.
Yeah, so I started in under 15s. That's when I started competing
Regionals,
in competitions. And like I represented the Southeast at under 15s. Our first year, I think we came last. We weren't very good. And then our second year, we won gold in under 15s. I think that was 2017. And then 2018, we went back as under 15s, won another gold. So we were back-to-back gold medalists. And then COVID must have hit. Or we did one junior championships at under 19s level, got bronze, and then COVID hit. And obviously, I was at a really awkward age. I was like 16, COVID hit, and I was like, well, is that my junior career over? Because we didn't know how long it was going to last. And it was like, well, if I've not got a junior career, then what do I do after that? But yeah, in 2018, I went out with the GB under-24 team to Bordeaux, and we won gold at the European Championships. So I was 14, which is quite cool. I wasn't the youngest in the team that time. Someone beat me by 6 weeks, but I know. But like, yeah, when COVID hit, it was a bit like, well, I'm 16. How long is this going to last? Because if I turn 18 during COVID, then my junior career is over and I've got nothing to go to.
Yeah.
But luckily, I think I was 17 when we came out of it, and I went to school games.
Yep.
Where it turned 3-on-3, didn't it? Tell you now, right? Get it on camera. I hate 3x3. Yeah. I hate it with a passion.
Was you the first year that it turned to 3x3?
Yeah.
Oh.
So can you explain to us what 3x3 is?
Oh, go on, you can, because it just annoys me.
So basically, we had, like Mad was talking about, regional, national championships, where it was 5-on-5, a game of basketball, under 15s, under 19s, and then with the school games, it was called. Rather than going 5-on-5, they then changed it to 3 versus 3, and it was more like street rules, if you like, right?
Mm.
Same size court?
So it was only played on a half court this time.
Okay.
So maybe that's why Mad couldn't use
Oh, I could not use my speed at all.
Mad is a very agile, speedy.
Need a bit of a run up to
I do need a run up to beat anyone.
No.
But honestly, I was so mad that it changed to that. But I was like, well, I need to do this to set myself up for GB, because I need to be just playing basketball against other people.
Because during lockdown, did you play any, or was it kind of?
So my school were really good and managed to let me use the court every single day. So I'd get up 100 shots a day at least. Wow. And I was like, yeah.
What school's that, just for a shout out for?
Castleview Academy in Portsmouth.
Did you have, Mad, being in a GB camp, did they give you targets and stuff that you've got to do yourself? How's it sort of?
Yeah, we've got targets. So like we use heart rate data a lot of the time for like our fitness stuff. So if I've not met my red minutes for the week, I'll then have to go to the gym and do a conditioning session to meet them minutes and stuff like that. And then like your hours on court and things like that. Like you have got targets that you have to meet, and they're adapted to different athletes, because I find it really easy to get in the red zone on my heart rate. So if they kept mine the same as everyone else's, I'd be like, well, all right. But because I find it quite easy, they put it up a lot. So just things like that where it's adapted to each individual athlete. But yeah, we do come out of camps with a plan, and they're horrible plans, but they work. Yeah.
Do you, talking about going from juniors to seniors, I was telling these guys a little bit about, we've got a boxing classification. So I know it works different in different sports. Can you talk a little bit about going from juniors to seniors in basketball, and how, you know, I know we get points off for females and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think for a junior playing in National League, so from 14 to 18, you get, is it a 1.5 off now?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think it's 1.5, and females get the same. So I play as a 1.5 when I play with my mixed team. But then when I play with my Women's Premier League team, obviously we all play as our actual classification. But it just means it's even, because obviously if you've got a kid playing in your team, then you need to make it a bit more fair. So you can have higher classifications on court with them. So yeah, that's just how they make it fairer for like any junior players coming in. You get a 1.5 off your classification.
What's the oldest in the team? I have to ask that.
Yeah, in the GB team.
Well, in your team, yeah.
In my
the
team?
teams. Yeah, or the GB team and the other teams.
I think the GB team, Helen must be 34? Wild guess.
Helen, we apologise if we get it wrong.
Yeah, if I've got that wrong, it doesn't go out. And for my team, Tom Smith must be the oldest. He's not very old, is he? I don't know, I'm not even going to take a guess. Don't want to offend Tom because I love Tom. But
Is that 20s or 30s? 20s?
Somewhere in between, maybe.
Yeah, because obviously this Paralympics has been quite a few different people who are kind of coming to the end of their career, isn't it? So it's like you're starting yours.
Yeah.
And kind of you seem like at that Paralympics, was there a lot of people kind of saying goodbye to the Paralympics at the same time? Do you see that side?
There's no one in our team that was saying goodbye.
So you're all raring to go.
I'm hoping they're all planning on staying.
Yeah.
Because we've got quite a nice group.
So the girl who you said was 5 times.
Yeah, she's 5 Paralympics.
So she could be looking
incredible.
at 6.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope she's looking at 6. If not, she needs to let me know.
Yeah.
So you're starting at this age. What was her age? Her first one.
I think she might have been 18. Her first one.
Okay.
She beat me.
So you got to try and get 5 or 6 in, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. Going for 5.
I feel like the disability within the Paralympics and disability sport, the age you can play for slightly longer, you know.
Yeah, I think
keep
so.
yourself in shape.
Yeah.
Sort of because you mentioned quite a few different kind of para athletes to me. I try and remember them.
Yeah.
You're throwing names at me and I can't. But sort of, is there anyone who really stands out for you in other sports as well that you kind of saw?
Not in other sports, but Terry Bywater. How many is he on? 7?
7.
7 Paralympics.
Wow.
And he's in our men's team, and he is still like unreal.
Wow.
He's
That's like it's 28 years of competing in the
top
Paralympics.
level competition.
Amazing.
I don't think there's an Olympian that's been in kind of like that anywhere near that many, is there? I mean, four, I think.
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Average, yeah.
And I think there's is it Sarah Story has done 9?
Wow.
Is it 9?
Wow.
I think she's done 9.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's,
Plenty more you left for you
Definitely
yet,
not
mate.
me. But
yeah, I was going to say, are you sitting there going, probably, I'll try, but let's
definitely
see.
not. There's not even a question about
I
it.
think we should go for 10. So
Is LA on the cards for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When do you start building to?
Probably next month.
Yeah. No rest.
I mean, it's a whole 4-year cycle, isn't it? So you've got to be like at the top of your game for the whole 4 years to.
So obviously
be
you've got
selected.
championships in between that
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have like a Europeans, and last year we did Europeans and Worlds, which is very unusual to have both in the same year. But COVID just threw everything off. So yeah, we ended up with 2 in the same year. So it was quite a tough year, and then you go straight into a Paralympics. Like, we didn't have a break, but hopefully this time, like, we get a break in between. But we're still at camps all the time. Like,
Yeah.
like I say,
Is it seasonal? Is there a season?
Yeah, so the National League season runs from September time to May.
To May, yeah.
Similar to the football season, I suppose.
Yeah, and then women's is probably December, January to May, so it's not very long. There's less teams.
Yeah, because in boxing we do sort of like from everyone starts getting ready in August, competing now, and then we'll compete all the way to May as well. So weekends travelling. I think every sport just has to travel everywhere.
Yeah.
And obviously we're trying to build our kind of adaptive boxing scene as well. But with kind of because we run within the club other boxing as well, like every single weekend it's a show, it's somewhere, it's going somewhere, travelling for sparring. So for you, it's travelling for games.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Is there lots of friendlies in between, or is it kind of?
Not really. During the off season, you have a lot of friendlies, and like with GB, you plan a lot of friendlies. So like we'll go abroad and stuff, and go and play in like mini tournaments. Like this year, we've been to Japan, China to just play in like some mini tournaments. But like with your league teams, you don't really do that so much. I think last year we played 2 friendlies, and that was it for the whole season. So it's not really a regular thing, but you'll play in like a few tournaments here and there, possibly.
Perfect. I've just read as well. Frisbee.
Oh, who's given that information?
I don't know.
Who's given that information?
Go on, talk to us about why you like Frisbee, man.
That's just on my Paralympics GB profile, isn't it? Do you know what? I didn't tell them that. Well, I think one of my teammates has stitched me up. But it is true. I do carry a Frisbee everywhere.
Do you?
Like, it's always in my backpack. If I've
Have
got a
you got it
backpack
with you
on me,
today?
I've got a Frisbee. Not got a backpack on me, Keith.
Not Keith.
But honestly, if I've got a backpack, I've got a Frisbee. It's just funny, isn't it? Just gives you something to do when you're bored.
Do you just throw it at people, just kind of?
Sometimes. Every now and then, like, you'll like play it in the corridor and purposely hit someone's door
Yeah.
to try and get them to come out and play.
Or person. You there.
Yeah.
Did you take it to Paris with you?
Of course I did.
Nice.
Took it to Paris, it went to China, it went to Japan, it's been everywhere with me.
So you just mentioned a few countries. Where have you been in your? Because obviously now, like you're saying, you're a young athlete, but
Yeah.
you've travelled a lot.
I have. I have. So June last year is when I made my debut. So we went out to Dubai for that. And then we went to Holland for Europeans. Then I was in Thailand for under 25 Worlds. Where else have we been? Spain, Germany, Netherlands again, Japan, China, and then Paris. And that's all within like a year and a half.
Wow.
Serious.
It's wonderful to hear the different places that the young athletes could go to now. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like our under 25 team went out to Thailand. Like, it's not like you're just going to France or Spain. Like, your junior players do get to go to some really cool places, and we got to go out and explore a lot too. So,
What was your favourite country?
probably Japan, because we were right next to Universal Studios. So we went in.
How was that sort of? First of all, how many games you play, and then
I think we only played 4 games. It was only like a little friendly tournament. I say little, like we didn't travel to Japan, but
yeah.
But yeah, it was so good, and like obviously that was in the whole who's going to be in the team sort of time. So everyone was, you just try so hard. Every time you get on court, you're like, I'm going to go and hit this person, do this, do that.
Injuries.
We've just, do you know what? We've had 2 players that were out for like months with concussion recently.
Because because
Wow.
it's quite a.
Yeah.
I've seen you lot go, and like
Yeah.
you don't expect like when I hear wheelchair basketball, I don't like we're in boxing, and usually people who go play other sports get hurt in other sports,
Yeah.
and then they come to boxing, they get punched, and it's like. Don't get injured. They'll go play football.
Yeah.
They'll twist their ankle, and then but wheelchair basketball, you lot go. I mean, you go for
They
it.
say
Yeah.
it's non-contact.
Like no, you got more contact than anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I think I had 2 concussions within a month of each other.
Wow.
So I got back from Worlds on like the 21st of June, and then I think on the 13th of July I was concussed, and then got cleared on I think the 28th of July. So like that was so close to our next tournament. I think it was like 2 weeks before our next tournament.
Yeah.
So it was just it's so hard, and then I got concussed at under 25 Worlds. Like
So is that from a collision or is that from falling out of the?
a bit of both. My first one was I'm just light, so I fall out quite easily.
And you like to go fast, as we know.
I do
that-
like to go fast, yeah. So fast and falling doesn't really work together.
Jesus.
And then I still don't know what I hit my head on. It wasn't great. And then the second time I had an open layup. This was in a game against Japan at the World Championships. And I was going full speed for a layup. And the girl was also going full speed behind me, clipped the back of my wheel, and I fell out backwards.
Oh,
hit
wow.
the back of my head. And I mean, I wouldn't blame her because we've all accidentally hit people, haven't we? And like taken
That
them
sounds
out.
like
Yeah.
Yeah, a few times now.
So I quite like. Well, I'm known for falling,
Yeah.
and sometimes, well, when I played in teams with Mad, they say to me, "You haven't fallen out enough. You haven't played well." Well, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, blimey!" I think my record, to be honest, was a few seasons ago. It took me from the starting tip, you know what I'm going to say here, to falling out, 7 seconds, and I was on the floor. But it's one of them, if you're not in the way of the game, pop yourself back up, and the ref doesn't stop it.
It's your lucky number, isn't it, 7?
It is. That's the first ever number I played in my team.
So like, because it is non-contact, but it's definitely contact.
Yeah.
Like, what's the most exciting part for for both of you? What got you to kind of go to that, and then kind of you come into boxing? We're trying to encourage a little bit of boxing. We want you to come
I'm
down.
in for boxing.
Yeah.
Sort of what's the most exciting part of the sports for yourselves?
Do you want to go for it?
I just enjoy playing it. Like that's if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't play it. And like every game, you get nervous before a game, and like I find that so exciting. Like the nerves, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to play a game of basketball here.
Competitive edge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the nerves are always a good thing for me. Like,
Yeah.
Have you always been competitive?
Yeah, you grow up with that
So
many siblings, you have to be competitive. I'm no quitter.
Yeah.
And then for yourself, what like?
Oh, to be honest, for me, I wasn't really sure about basketball. So mine started when I first met Maddie. My coach at the time, he said to me, "Look, come and play basketball." I said, "No, I don't like basketball. Running basketball." I said, "I'm not going to like it." He said, "Look, just come." So anyway, he picked me up from my house. He said, "You're coming." I got in the chair and I thought, well, I'm here now, I may as well have a go. When I got in that chair, I thought, blimey, this is wicked, flying around. The legs are taken out of it. You can, off the record, smash into people.
Yeah.
You can, you're flying, you're scoring points, you're defending, you're picking, you're rolling. It's brilliant. So just the thrill of playing a game and the competitive
I
side.
think the first time we come along to see you guys, me and Matt, we were shocked at how competitive and everything it is as well. It's really exciting to watch as well. I mean, people have got to go along and actually watch a wheelchair basketball as well, because it's actually a lovely day to go and watch and really enjoyable as well, isn't it?
It's really, I actually remember so clearly
Yeah.
you guys coming and visiting our training session.
I was really impressed.
Because you block each other as well, don't you, in the chairs? Mm-hmm. Kind of, because I remember I was trying to play and I was thinking, all right, I'm going to go. And then I just got stopped and I was like, you're going to let me out?
That's what I need. I just need a run up. That's all I need.
So if you could say to anybody who's maybe growing up, same positions kind of as you when you were younger, like, because no one really pushed you kind of
No.
found the sports, family helped. if someone was listening to this, what would you say to them to try and get them into a...
Just if you're considering it, do it. Try it. Like, you never know what's going to happen. There's a million different sports, you know what I mean? Like, even boxing, new sport, and it's coming up, and even, like, you might try basketball, hate it.
Yeah.
There's so many other sports that you can try, and there's so many possibilities with disability sport.
What else have you done?
Nothing.
Yeah, you are pure basketball
I've
from the very beginning, yeah.
Yeah, like, I was...
Yeah, but that's because you knew, and you were...
I was set on that was my sport.
And you wanted to be part of it, and you've achieved it. So
look at where you got to.
Yeah.
Exactly, and even like on my career through basketball, I was like, I'm not going to try any other sport until I've made GB, because I was like, what if it distracts me? Like, I was so set on playing for GB.
Yeah.
But now I'll try any sport.
I did a lot of different sports as well before, and I was, you know, I was born with a pair of gloves on type thing, so I had gloves on. I've got pictures of me as a baby with gloves on, so it was something I knew that I could do, but I also tried other sports because nobody really pushed me into boxing, and then I did the other sports first, and then boxing was what I went back to eventually, and then realised it was for me completely. So.
Because you play a lot of sports, don't you?
Yeah, Keith does a lot of different...
Keith does play
man, look what you've done to me. Nightmare. So, yeah, but I've lost it now.
Yeah, Keith's killed you.
Cheers, Martin. What I play rugby, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair basketball, boxing.
Yeah.
I used to play cerebral palsy football, but it got to a stage I thought, you know what? My legs are starting to seize up on me. Maybe, as much as I didn't want to, maybe I should concentrate on the other three.
I think I was part of that as well.
Just Scott said to me, listen, son.
No, you come in and you'd done your knee was swelled up. You couldn't hardly walk, that was your other knee. So I'm like, mate, if you do that leg, you're completely done. I couldn't believe you were doing it.
No.
I was like, how the hell what are you doing? Keith, come round, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's, well, to be honest, that's where we're like, having a disability or not, we're going to do as much as we can.
Yeah.
Forget the disability. We're competitive people, probably the same as you, Mad.
Yeah.
Let's do it and see what happens.
Yeah, I played football and stuff like that before. Obviously, my disability got too much to be able to do that. And
because I was going to ask about that, sort of like, because obviously you're not using a wheelchair day to day.
No.
Is that kind of, are you in a wheelchair day to day?
Yeah.
So sort of, is that from birth, or is that kind of as it's kind of...
just as it got worse, really. Like, I've got a tethering in my spine, and so that affects like the signals to my legs and stuff. But just as I grew, it just got worse. And then obviously, like I say, I was playing football, like just for fun, and then I couldn't do that, and I was sort of like, right, what do I do now? And then I saw the Paralympics, and I was like, oh, that looks like a good sport. I'm going to go try that, because I could have done like wheelchair football. Do you know what I mean? Like, there were so many options, but I saw basketball, and I was like, that is what I want to do.
So obviously you started wheelchair basketball when you were in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of, kind of it was kind of quite a easy transition.
Yeah, I think so. I'd say, yeah, because I'd used a wheelchair my whole life, but like I could like run and stuff when I was a kid, and like just little things, and it was just fun. And then it got to a point where football and stuff like that wasn't fun because it hurt.
Yeah.
And then I was like, right, I can't do
swap.
that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, because obviously, Kieran, you're quite mobile.
Yeah, so
you run around.
Relatively mobile.
Wobble around. But
and so, what was the transition for you when you had to get in a wheelchair for sport? Because obviously, I'm thinking of other people watching if they're worried about sort of like, I don't want to get in a chair for a sport, but actually, kind of, how was it for you?
You might need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like, I've got cerebral palsy. I'm fortunate enough I can walk and move around, but it's actually, but before basketball, actually, that was the start for me. Like, how do I put this? For me, it put me off when he asked me about joining basketball. I was like, no, I don't want to play in a chair. My legs are working enough to get me around. But actually, once I got in the chair, I realised the pain was away. You know, the constant ache was away. I didn't have to struggle. And then I was on a level playing field. I could move quicker than I ever have. So that was my first sport. And I still don't use a chair day to day because my mobility is good enough. But then I thought, actually, how much I enjoy basketball, I'm going to try, you know, the boxing. Yeah. And then now my movement in the chair, the chair becomes my legs. And then I've got the rugby as well. But I see it as it's an aid. So rather than being struggling in pain, if I need it, the chair's there. But if I got in a chair now, I could comfortably not get out of it again. So I'm almost stubborn.
So would you recommend sort of like for other people who maybe are struggling with that transition to just give it a go? Just enjoy it.
Like you say, like it's just an aid, and you're just playing sport. It's just a different way to play sport.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean that you're suddenly in a wheelchair.
Because we get in the chairs, a lot as well.
Yeah.
So we're in and out of chairs, and you know it's amazing to see when people haven't been around disability or wheelchairs and other parts, and sort of like our club's now got them everywhere. The kids are in and out of them all the time. It's like you're telling them not to play around. Before, people used to avoid them. Now they're kind of like they're in them all the time, and kind of like, you know, as soon as you get them out, people are jumping in, kind of. And then obviously in wheelchair basketball, you've got a sort of like a wide range of people, and actually, you know, I've got able-bodied friends who play as well, and it's kind of like when someone said it to me the first time, I was like, why are you playing that? And then when I got in the chair, I was like,
this is why.
Actually, this is actually quite...
It's actually fun.
Yeah.
It is just fun.
I have it in the boxing gym. So like I say, when I'm training or something, some of our amateurs or juniors, they'll come and say, can I jump in a chair?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, please do.
And then you beat them up.
Well, no. And then for them to see it, they're like, wow. So now it's just part of the gym, you know. We've got nice interactive community.
Even from the younger ages as well, because you do a lot with little champs, 5 to 10-year-olds as well. They kind of jump in. It's for me, it coming from kind of myself is like it's quite inspiring to see that like people are comfortable to be able to talk about it, to be able to kind of actually address like we're all here together and actually kind of just getting along with it. And then, I mean, we've been on pushes along the seafront, and like we're in the wheelchair and we're in the bike lane, and someone's like, get out of the lane, and I'm like, really? I turned around to you and I said, is this normal? And you went, yeah, and I was like, I felt like
it's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's mad to think.
People, you're in a cycle lane in a wheelchair, and they're belling you to get out the lane.
And to be honest, it really opened my eyes up to kind of like, because we're in such an accepting environment to then go outside and
people
kind of
accept it,
within 200 metres of leaving, you got people who are doing that. You know, I felt like getting out of the chair chasing them down because I'm not that fast in a wheelchair yet. Kieran was a lot faster than me, but it was kind of one of those where it's like it opened my eyes to maybe what goes on for a lot of people, and kind of I think that's what kind of pushes me to try and create more acceptance as well, and kind of the opportunities, because like there's obviously people out there who don't have those communities that they can get to, and kind of really kind of, I don't know about you, Scott, but that's kind of what pushes me to try and do a bit more.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, from the very beginning, I think that was always to try and make the awareness, wasn't it? We look at everything we do now. We look at it as, or everything we find ourselves doing. We're looking at things. Is this wheelchair accessible there? Whereas that was never in our heads. But working with you guys has been.
It's been inspiring, to be honest.
Inspiring and eye-opening as well. So
it's one of them. You know, it is what it is for us. We just sort of crack on with it. We know it happens.
I think one of the worst things I heard was one of the guys was in a queue and a lady swung her handbag around. And like whipped him round the face.
Do you get it too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so you're in the wheelchair, and the woman turned around, looked at him, and turned back, and didn't even they don't apologise or nothing. So that's quite a regular thing, is that, or not regular, but it happens.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
Wow.
Just lack of spatial awareness.
So obviously you're growing up in a kind of a younger generation is so much more accepting.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel that?
Do you know what? I actually had a conversation with my sister the other day, and she was like, if you weren't part of our family, I think I would still, like, it's natural to, like, see someone in a wheelchair and you stare. Because it's, like, not something you see every day.
She doesn't sit at home just staring at you, does she?
Not anymore. But she was like, it's just, like, the awareness. Like, if you see more people in wheelchairs or more people with disabilities, like, even just on the TV, anything like that, like, it just creates that awareness for people, and then you're less likely to get, like, the stupid comments that people give you in the street and, like, the stares and stuff like that, because people are going to look. You're in a wheelchair, do you know what I mean? Like, that's something you got to get over. You're just different to what other people usually see. But just creating that awareness, like, I think that it's made a huge difference in the last, like, however many years. Like you say, it's completely different now to how it used to be. And I'm so lucky to be growing up with that instead of, like, what it used to be like.
Well, the power of the Paralympics is incredible as well, though, isn't it?
I was going to say 2012 was quite a big turning point.
Yeah.
Like, and the Paralympic team doing so amazing as well. I think, like, credit to them, and you, for doing so well, because it's, you know, I mean, I heard about it for 2 weeks straight, like, you know, and every single day I'm looking at a medal table and I'm going, second? Like, you know, you think, wow, and, like, you know, China's got 1 billion people in it, and Great Britain's, you know, we got like 70 million, and, you know, we're second on the medal table, smashing everything. Like, how many Paralympic records were smashed then? We saw, what, 4 or 5 of them smashed?
So
it was
we were at the athletics,
and
we were messaging to you guys and stuff, and a Dutch lady, long jump, she double amputee, she broke the record in her second
by meters
in her
as well.
second run. She then broke her own record again, and you're like, wow, this is, I'll never forget when something just popped in my brain. Scott was there, so we were doing the half marathon push. Here we go. We were doing the half marathon push, and Scott said, I want to, you know, push with you, finish the thing with you. We said, yeah, jump in. Anyway, we were pushing, and Scott was pushing, so we thought, oh, this is wicked. Then he shouts out to me, how do you control this thing? I'm thinking, oh my word, we're going towards the finish line here. It's now hammering down with rain, and Scott's heading towards a wall saying, how do you control this thing? Yeah,
I was trying to control it, but
because what I found getting in and doing the half marathon push, I mean, it took me a while to recover from that as well. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I felt in the fall.
But you still want to do a marathon.
I was so slow that I couldn't believe how slow I was. Yeah. Jesus.
You're a bit bigger than everyone
else,
else, so that might count for something.
Yeah.
But no, like, overall, it's been inspiring to be part of kind of building a, like, adaptive sport and kind of being around it, coming in and seeing it. And it's one of those where, like, it's part of my everyday now, and kind of, for me, would be telling people to get involved. Like, just give it a go. Would you kind of, anything you would say to other people, maybe if they're sitting on the edge of kind of, like, I don't know whether to approach someone or maybe kind of, like, help someone they've seen other people with disabilities, would you?
Just do it. Like, the amount of, like, when I go and do, like, school talks or whatever, if a kid's like, can I play if I'm not disabled? I'm like, yeah, go and try it. Like, there's this club. Like, you can find clubs and you can find places to do it. You've just got to know the right people, or, like, sometimes you search something that doesn't come up and you're like, oh, well, whatever.
Do you get many able-bodied people doing, like, the basketball? I mean, I did see it at your guys. There was guys with your team, wasn't there? So you do get them coming in. And how do you guys look at that? Is that, do you look at them and think, why are you doing that, or do you?
No, I like it.
Yeah.
Personally, I like it. Like, you're trying a different sport.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you know, because we have to look at it, rather than look at it as a wheelchair. If you look at it as a machine, and you're working in a machine.
Exactly.
And that's how I believe that would probably inspire more people as well. It's just calling it a wheelchair that people go, oh, I don't want to be in a wheelchair.
Exactly.
Or, you know, so once that gets across even more. I think
I enjoyed my time in the wheelchair. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's great.
We were going for we were doing the 5K push. Like
5K
we're doing
a day,
twice a week 5K push along the seafront. And like the first time we done it, we looked at the time and we like, it's awful. Like we got to get faster at this. And the next time we got faster and faster. And it was like, I was actually looking forward to kind of like, right, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I paused some of my other training to make sure I had enough energy to like go for it. Kieran's looking at me like, he's slow.
No, we got
Like we got quicker, but when I
smashed it.
first started, I thought, cool, I'm going fast here. And Kieran's like, just one push watching me, and I'm like, God, how would it like? And I was thinking, what am I doing something wrong? I've trained most of my life. Like, how am I not able to do this? And it was like suddenly I started looking at your technique, and I was like, right, I've got to do this. And even when I got a bit better, Kieran was still just so casual.
But that's what you don't realise, I think, is actually when you get in a chair, say like something you take for granted, using your legs, something like the pavement. When you get in a chair, I don't know if you found the same thing. Matt was saying to me like, why am I going left constantly?
I actually blamed the chair. I was like, I actually started going, no, it's got to be the chair. Because I was just, literally, I'd push and I'd go towards the grass. Go towards the grass. And I was like, I can't do this for 5K. And I had to because it was just me. I was just pushing one more through one arm than the other. Because then I started moving the other way. When I went back down the seafront, I suddenly realised I was pushing through one arm more than the other.
I can't wait. So when I see you guys, there was 4 of you the other day, all in a line, all going to the pier and back.
That's it, our power team, yeah.
I mean, when we get 20, that's got to be a mind-blowing vision going along the seafront, 20 wheelchairs.
I think even we went out with like 5 or 6 of us the other month, and people were actually stopping and saying, "Oh, where are you from? What are you doing?" Kind of, it was quite nicely positive. Every so often you get the negative, as you do, but when they're asking, they were like, "Where you come from?" And we were all in adaptive boxing, t-shirts and stuff, and they were like, "Where is this?"
Yeah,
and kind of it's amazing how many people like
just aren't
aware that this stuff goes on as well.
That's the thing. Like, people are interested, they just don't know where to start. And by like you guys being out in like your kit and stuff, like they'll see that and they'll come up and ask questions because you're in kit.
Yeah.
If they see like anyone out, any sport, just out in kit, like doing a sport, they're gonna ask questions naturally. And then if they know someone disabled and they're not disabled themselves, maybe they then go and pass it on to that person.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you build it. That's how you grow.
Okay, so done quite a bit of talking. I want to see you in the boxing gym at some point.
I'll come in. Yeah, I'm in.
Calm down, man.
Yeah, I'll do it.
We're gonna create a program for you. We're gonna get you in.
Oh, proper.
I think we got to learn a certain sort of like routine. We want to get you to a point where you can do it.
Okay. Challenge.
And that's the challenge. It's going to be an hour's. It's going to be an hour's training, full on, all the way through. We want to see you pick it up, and then you're gonna showcase it, and then we might give you an opportunity to punch Kieran.
Yes.
Oh,
sorry,
Keith.
I've waited 8 years for this.
I'm sure you give me a few cheeky digs when we were training.
Yeah, a few
But
times.
that would be lovely to have you down and
I'd love to.
come give it a go and
Excellent.
get you in the ring and come into a boxing gym. Have you ever been in a boxing gym?
No.
Never been in a boxing gym. I suppose
It'd be a whole new experience for me.
As someone who's obviously not been in a boxing gym, because sometimes we take for granted how easy it is for us to go in and just kind of get on.
Such an inclusive environment.
Even for yourself, you just
it is what it is now, isn't it?
Yeah, and how do you feel about coming down?
Oh, it's a bit scary, isn't it? New environment. I've only ever played one sport. No, it is exciting though. I just love like new opportunities and stuff. I'll get stuck into anything, me.
Yeah.
Talking about you being in the red zone, Mad.
My red zone.
Keep you in that red zone, there.
It's going to be black. Black zone, I don't know.
It is a hard sport.
Don't scare me.
No.
Well, if that's everything.
Yeah.
Maddie, thank you so much for
thank you.
coming on. I really appreciate coming on, talking about all your kind of achievements, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the gym. And
I'm excited.
Will you be playing against Keith? I'm going to start using it now.
Oh, look, it's
I'm not
stuck
playing
now.
against you this year.
No.
No, I'm not. We're in different divisions.
No, not different.
Lucky.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's in Div 1, see?
Now that you've called me Keith, I'm
Yeah.
gutted.
speak to
No,
Ruined my
you've let
day.
Keith out the bag.
That's it.
You're
Yeah.
training on Tuesday.
Just to let you
anymore.
know, we got a couple of people sitting here and they're nodding their head, going, "We're going to start calling him Keith as well."
Oh, look what we
You know.
started.